New York Attorney General Letitia James is suing the Trump Organization for $250 million over its business practices.
The New York Attorney General claims that the company manipulated its property valuations for years in an effort to game the system. She accused former President Trump and his adult children, Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump Jr., and Eric Trump. She said that they all violated a number of state and federal laws. Lawyers for the Trump family denied the claims in the lawsuit, saying that AG James is trying to advance her political agenda.
CBS News contributor and former federal prosecutor Keir Dougall joins us now to talk about this. And Keir, we want to get your reaction to what the Attorney General laid out. One point that really jumped out to us is that the focus appears to be relatively narrow. It all centers around these statements of financial condition spanning a decade. And the Attorney General says these are not good faith mistakes. It's intentional fraud. What do you make of the case she has laid out?
Right, she's got to prove that. What she described at the press conference, as you said, encapsulated in a 280-page complaint, is over a decade worth of examples of this inflated, as she alleges, fraudulently inflated valuations. And that's really going to be key. We already heard at the press conference what the likely defenses are going to be, that this is a mistake here and there or just a simple routine practice in the real estate industry. The weight of this repetition, the weight of this conduct over more than a decade is what she's going to have to prove to convince the court and the finders of fact here that this wasn't a mistake and that this, in fact, is a fraud. Importantly here, this is a civil case, so her burden of proof is substantially lower than in a criminal case.
Keir, she said that the 280 pages of this complaint barely scratches the surface. And she also said that other evidence of bank fraud was going to be referred to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District and the IRS. Tell us how all of this is going to impact these other investigations into the former president.
So that's a little bit hard to say, but, to the extent it already has been, right? She's been taking testimony. She's been gathering documents. She's been getting the story from witnesses, in her case, that may relate to evidence that if there is an investigation in the Southern District on these matters, may have sort of put these witnesses, gotten their story down in a form that might have an impact on these other investigations. I would sort of say right now that's a little bit speculative, and frankly, she's got a job to do to uphold the laws of the state of New York, and she's doing what she has to do.
We really appreciate getting your insight on this because, as one of our correspondents said yesterday, you almost need a whiteboard to kind of figure out which case relates to what. We just showed a map. If we could show that again of all these different legal challenges facing the former president. And I want to, as we show that map, pivot to one of those probes related to seized documents at Mar-a-Lago. The special master, Raymond Dearie, held his first hearing yesterday. He needs to review the documents the FBI seized to see, okay, what's what. Team Trump says we don't want to prove to you that the president declassified these documents, but just give us some insight into Judge Dearie and share with us some of your own personal experiences with him that could give us a little bit of insight into what's happening there.
Right. So as a federal prosecutor, as a lawyer representing the United States, I have spent many days in Judge Dearie's courtroom. I tried 2 criminal cases to juries in his courtroom, presided over where Judge Dearie was presiding over the case. So I can assure our audience that he is fair, he is smart, he is apolitical, and as I think we're already starting to see in the press reports, he is not going to take and accept nonsense from anyone. So his job as special master is to sort out this 11,000 documents that were seized at Mar-a-Lago effectively and put them into different buckets to the extent that there is a claim of privilege. He needs to resolve those, put those documents in a bucket. To the extent that there may or may not be a contention over whether or not certain of these documents are classified. He will, I expect, he will make recommendations to the judge in Florida as to whether they are or they aren't, how many of them there are, and what should happen with those. So his job is going to be effectively to winnow through all of these different documents and air the contentions, the claims by both the government and by Mr. Trump's team, and get to an answer for all of these documents, so that the DOJ's very important investigation about national security concerns can continue.
All right, Keir Dougall, thank you.
Thank you, Keir.
Thank you.